Welcome back to Aircel Chennai Speaks Out. We're going to start now. Vasant, why do you think there is actually so much violence that's being depicted nowadays in our media? Ram says he's backed off a bit, but is that
I
really?
said it's happening in the society. Definitely, it's happening, no? See, can you imagine in a press conference, some press person, a journalist will throw a shoe on somebody? It has happened. It has happened.
Right.
Can you imagine this 20 years back? See, that's what I'm trying to tell you. See, that violence has come in, one second, sir, please. The violence has come into us. I'm worried about that. As an individual, let me be a media person or not. As an individual, as a person of, me being an Indian, I really feel bad that really the violence has come into us, every one of us.
But is somebody doing it in point of fact to actually get filmed by people like us and then being put on the television and then being on Ram's newspaper next morning?
See, I'm not supporting that we should show violence in the films. Suppose you want to take a Ramayana, no, without showing whatever that villain is, whatever that Ravana does, one has to show that. Then only you will have the power of the right thing. You have to show the wrong thing also. But that's what I said in the beginning. You should have your own conscience or your own scale. What to show, what not to show. What I appreciated that, no, you can show the same photograph in a black and white. Why should want to have a color photograph to improve the glory, no, whatever that has in that picture. That's how one should have our own consciousness when we really do or show the things in the film.
So do you think then it's up to the conscience or the view of the individual editor, the managing editor, the editor-in-chief? Is that what you think?
See,
what is, let's hear from you.
The point a lot of people made here is that, when you're showing violence, you're showing it because it's there. It's there and you have to show it and the people have to know it. But what I'm saying is, at a point of time, what is happening to the media is that it's becoming to, it's glorifying the violence. What you should really be doing is show the violence and say it should not be there.
Don't glorify, but
that
show. If you don't show, no, you are not showing the right thing. What's happening has to be shown.
What I'm saying is there's a movie called Saving Private Ryan where they show the war, the gore of it, and at the end of it say what the message of the movie is that what is wrong.
So basically, the editor has the right to portray whatever, is the news. But I think that the editor also has a responsibility in showing, especially, the medium like newspaper. There is no censorship. There is no, it's open to all kinds of audience, right from a father who is asking his kid to, a 2-year, 3-year-old kid to start reading newspapers and form a habit. People are unprotected. Whereas if you take films, there is a censorship in place. There is a kind of, a regulation as well. But coming to the point of the right of the editor to actually portray the violence, I think putting up the right information in a newspaper and also glorifying it through pictures and the kind of language, I think they're two different things.
Can I stop you here? And I would like to ask, give me a minute please. I'd like to ask Sudesh here, who is actually a film critic. Can you tell me, if there was a movie with plenty of action, plenty of gore, plenty of blood, sweat and tears, what would you actually say about that movie as part of your critique of the film?
I'd like to say what Tarantino said when asked about 9/11. He said 9/11 didn't affect me much because there was this Hong Kong action film called Purple Storm in which he had already seen a plot to blow up a building using a plane. He's making, and he was criticized for having moral emptiness to say that he needs psychiatric evaluation because how can he not discriminate between real violence and film violence? But one of the critics also pointed out that this statement can only be made by a person who's not been exposed to real violence. And if you look at our audience, 90% of our audience has probably not been exposed to real violence in terms of bomb blasts or gunfights or all. So whatever image they see through a camera, whether it's news, whether it's fact or fiction, their reaction to it is just the same. It's just that they're probably in denial that they probably don't understand that they care more for one and
so
for the
Sudesh,
other.
would you actually point it out in your critique of the film?
See, as far as film goes, I believe there is a certain art component to it, and there is a lot of space for criticism of that.
You would say it's very aesthetically done.
No,
or
I would.
He tumbled off
it depends on what is the film trying to say.
Right.
What they show is not as important as what it is. Why is it saying, and what is it trying to say?
That's the point. That's the point. You can easily make out one's integrity. See, she was referring to a film. That's a great film. I don't know what she is not agreeable to that film. I don't know. Let me say about Devar Mahan. What do you think about Devar Mahan? The whole film was propagating for don't have violence. The person who has been telling that or for the person who is talking for non-violence has to take the weapon to prove a point. But the whole film, the screenplay, the whole film running time was spent for the non-violence. That's the way, no?